Okay, so hello everyone, and welcome to my first ever episode. I won't call it an episode because I know it's going to be something big. So let's think big already.
Amen.
I'm going to call this Get Real with Adura, and I'm so excited about my first guest. And I love that she actually offered. So I'm like, yay, this is a good sign. My first guest, or our first guest, is Ada. I'm going to ask her to introduce herself after I tell you how I met her. So many years ago, when I moved to Nigeria in 2014. I think I met her 2015 or 2014, actually. I remember, 2014, December, I actually physically met you. Yes, I remember very well. That's when you came for one of your, I think you had your event, that I'm not sure. And so I met her because of fitness. She was a fitness coach in the US. And then she started at Diary Fit, or is it fitness? Which is
Fitness.
It? Fitness, yes. And then she came to Nigeria for one of her events and invited me and some other fitness professionals to be a part of her event. And that's how I met her. So a couple of years went by, she got married, she had children. And then, you know how life is. I felt like she just disappeared off the face of the earth because she used to post a lot. I saw how, I was really inspired because her followership was going up and up. I was like, wow, I need to learn from her. And then I didn't see her again, So I was almost out of sight, out of mind, but I used to check her page often. Then she came back and started to post again. But I just noticed that there was a bit of a silence. It wasn't as, she wasn't talking about fitness as much. And I was very curious, but I couldn't ask her questions. And then she shared more things. And I'm hoping that she'll share some of those things, not all, with us as we have our conversation. So I'm going to ask her to introduce herself now, because for me, I'm excited for her because, yes, I met her because of the fitness industry. But then she's written a few books. I wouldn't say a couple of books, but she's written a few books. And she just shared on Instagram. I'm going to share it I'm going to show you on my phone. She just shared a milestone for herself. Bearing in mind, I did not meet her as an author. So think about this. She literally just came out of nowhere. I'm sure some people have been slaving away trying to write their books for years, get published and all that. And then someone just sneaks in and says, no, I'm going to write books because I have a desire for my children to learn about so, yeah. So look at what she just posted. Just posted this on Instagram today that she's sold over 1,000 copies of her books. I can't really zoom in on focus on my camera, but I'll share her details. And you can go to both her Instagram pages. But the books that she's written so far, she's written books on language, but these are the story books. And this is The Turtle's Cracked Shell and the Spider's Thin Legs. So congratulations on that. I'm so excited for you, especially because you expose, you've exposed us, someone like me, to your what's happened in your life in the past couple of years. So I'm one of those people that are rooting for you and thinking, for that person that said you sold, you're close to 1,000,000 copies. That was prophetic. I'm going to tell you that you sell 1,000,000 copies. You have to have that faith. But for now, we're celebrating 1,000 copies, and I'm going to share her details in the chat section, in the comment section, for you to follow her. So Ada, after the long introduction, introduce yourself to us.
I don't know what I have to say to top that, but thank you so much, Adura. I will say it's interesting. You never quite know what you reflect, what people see you as. So hearing this, I'm just like, wow, is it me? Is it me she's saying all these things about? But yes, and also this is probably the first time I've been asked to introduce myself in this sort of a setting. So I don't have anything planned, but hello, my name is Adura, and I'm a children's author and a small business owner based in Washington, D.C., but I was born, raised in Nigeria, and now as a mom raising young children here in America, I'm very passionate about making sure that they connect to as much of their Nigerian roots and heritage as possible. And that's kind of what spurred this entire journey. It's trying to make sure that they capture that. So in languages, they capture that in the books, in the stories. And I think all over, I'm just a regular old person who's trying to figure out this adulting, figure out this life, literally taking it one step at a time and just seeing where it goes.
Yeah. Thank you, thank you. That's enough. I mean, she just obviously I said a lot, but there's more. We'll find out more about her. So thanks for saying that. We're going to start our conversation now because, and I want to try and keep it as brief and not too long because I can talk to you for 2 hours, but I know we do have lives based on what you said. Based on what you shared with us. So I started this because, personally and with clients around me, because as you know, I'm a personal trainer, but also I do other things. So I'll just talk about the personal training side because I talk to people, my clients one-on-one, and also with being on social media and group sessions that I hold, online sessions as well. And even from friendships, I've noticed a growing trend. We all know about it. This confidence matter. And let's not even go about confidence in general because that is a long story, but even body confidence. I know the kind of things I went through. I still kind of, have to push this and struggle to fight them off because I still have those kind of thoughts on my body and how confident I am. Years ago, I used to be worried about, I'm putting a picture of myself doing a push-up with my tummy hanging out and I was skinny, all these kind of things. And I always felt self-conscious and it affected my mood. If I gained a bit of weight, I'll be sad, all these things. I might gain 1 pound, nobody can see it. But for me, it's like, I've disappointed myself. I've disappointed my clients, and that was just me. People telling me I have people that are in the best shape of their lives and they're just so concerned about how they look. It affects how they see themselves. It affects their decisions. And I just thought, what, how can we make life easier for ourselves? How can we figure this out? I actually thought of something like that. I realized that people don't share this side of their lives. They don't say these things, so you tend to feel alone. You tend to feel like, let me not talk because people will not understand, or they'll say that I have a great body, why am I making noise? You feel like that, so you just keep it to yourself. And I know how far it's taken me feeling like that. I used to share with some friends and they'll say, please go away, you're just being, you look fantastic, but you didn't know what was going on in my mind. They didn't know what caused me to feel like that. So because of that, I thought, let's have real conversations. Let's see how we can relate to each other. Let's see how we can just get off, just get out of this thinking and actually enjoy life. Why do I have to be 40 or 45 or 50 before I start to really enjoy my life? And I've spent years, and that's what's happening to people. I know teenagers are in that place I was as a teenager. So I want us to talk. You never know, this could help. A parent could be listening to this. Someone could be listening to this for themselves, an auntie, an uncle, whoever could be listening to this. And it could actually help them. So as I want us to have conversations, I'm not here to counsel you. I'm not here to give any answers. I just want us to talk and let's be real about things. So that's the point. And that's why Ada, when you volunteered, I was excited because I thought, wow, I didn't have to ask her, I want to talk to you about you now. When we were talking before, you said that you're talking about when you were in the fitness industry, not full-time, but part-time, and really, in the fitness industry, coaching and all of that, training. You said something about I want to share how you felt about your body then, your body size, comparing yourself. Let's talk to me. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Sure. No, and as you were talking, there are so many things that I thought, yes, this is true. I can relate to this as well, which is why you're doing this, right? Is because in life in general, we feel so alone in our thoughts, in different experiences we're having. I was just talking to my cousin earlier this morning about how we feel like we're the only ones going through a specific thing. And especially in this social media age where everyone puts up their highlights, you don't get to see that their lives are just as up and down as yours is. But maybe you in a down season or something, you may be thinking, it's just me who is in this space, who is thinking this way, who has these struggles. Because when you go on social media, you're only seeing highlights, the ups. But in reality, we are all there. One of the things that you said that really touched me was the fact that I think you used the word teenagers or something, and it struck to me because I look back at my teenage pictures now and I'm like, I used to think I was fat then. It's insane. I look at my pictures when I was in my 20s. I look at my pictures when I was doing my fitness thing. And I'm like, I used to think that I was so fat, so horrible, that my legs were so this, my arms were so that. And it's insane because now that I'm in my late 30s, I'm wishing that I enjoyed those moments more. And, we know what life is. Metabolism, age will do these things to you. I mean, it's an uphill battle from here on. So I've just come to this place where I want to enjoy my body now. And for me, it has always been what my body can do. So as a fitness instructor, I was working in the United States. I was working with a lot of people who did not have, a lot of fitness instructors who just did not look like me. Not just from being Black, but not having the kind of body that I have. Like, I'm thick by nature. And I was comparing myself to people who had very slender builds. You know, I naturally have hips, which is a great thing, especially when you put on dresses. But I was comparing myself to people whose hip structure, whose bone structure, whose physical appearances just would never, ever, ever be mine. I remember there was one time I dropped down so low in weight that everyone around me in my personal life was worried. They're like, stop losing weight. And to me, I kept saying, I want to lose just 20 more pounds because that is the number that XYZ has, and that's the number I need to attain. But I've always known that what really matters is how your body feels, what your body can do. And my body could do everything I wanted it to. I may not be the fastest person in the world. I mean, that's like what Usain Bolt, right? But I could run. I played soccer. I ran. I did burpees. I was a fitness instructor. I was doing very intense, high intensity workthouts. And
yes, honestly, your workouts, they're crazy. Yeah. Music as well. And I couldn't keep up. And I thought I was fit, but then your workouts were crazy and you could do them.
And I could do, and you know what? I never thought that I was good enough because all I saw was, oh, my thighs look this way, or this looks that way. A friend of mine told me fairly recently, like, you were one of the fittest people I knew. And I was like, what? I had no idea. So for me, it's like, I wasn't celebrating my body and what it could do and what it was at that time. And today, there's this mind shift I have, which, you know, we can delve into later on if you want. But now I'm like, I'm going to enjoy my body now because I don't know what the next 50 years or the next 10 years has in store for me as I get older. I'm going to enjoy it now. And it's a huge thing because when I think about like making sure my body can do what I want, making sure my body can let me squat down and pick up my kids or run faster, those kinds of things, the way I treat my body is different. And I think that's very important. So I'm not just trying to kill myself in the gym to lose 1 additional pound, which, like you said, no one can see. I'm more interested in how am I nourishing my body? Like, what am I eating? Because if I eat chocolate, it feels this way. But if I eat, you know, vegetables, I eat my beans, like I have energy, those kinds of things. So kind of in a nutshell.
Yeah, thank you so much. And that's a good way to look at, you know, to start, because why are we still doing this? Guys, everyone listening, why are you still where you are right now? You're not satisfied. You know, I know some people that are bigger. And I'll share mine because it's not about me, but I'll tell you something about myself. Some people that are bigger and they are the most confident people ever. And they're not doing it because they're trying to prove a point. You know, they're doing it because, and these are not people, because you know there are some celebrities, like there's a lady I'm thinking of, I can't remember her name, and she's quite big, but she is, literally she wears like bikini, she's a model, all of that. But I know people in my, some people might say she's trying to prove a point or whatever. You don't know, I'm sure she looks confident to me, or that's a celebrity. I know people in my life that are big or bigger than me, and their weight is not an issue. I know people that are my size and their weight is not an issue. People that are smaller than me, they don't think about it. It's not how they identify themselves. They don't see themselves that I'm a big person, so I must do this. They see more, you know, and I'm like, how are these people like this? I really want to know. And the way I've shared it, it shows that that's how a lot of us think. You know, when I was years ago, when I was overweight and I started to lose weight, I joined one of the popular weight loss programs. And one of the things they said to me was, was, why don't you look at your friends that are, you know, smaller and figure out, watch how they eat. So I looked and I realized that, okay, I had this friend that didn't really like breakfast. She we're only like 18 at that, no, 19, 20 actually. So a friend of mine, she didn't like eating breakfast. She just had like a big glass of water and we'll take an apple with her and we'll go to school. And then at uni she'll have food at the cafeteria, like a massive meal at the cafeteria. Then in the evening she might eat, she might not eat. Another friend that will have a small breakfast, not eat lunch, and eat dinner. You know, I started to notice that, okay, and then when you think about it, it sounds like different diet plans out there. Intermittent fasting, I'm sure one of my friends was she didn't realize it. Other people were having like small meals, some people just eating like one big meal a day, and different people say you should do stuff like that. I had another friend that ate 3 times a day and snacked as well, but they were all small meals. The person wasn't dieting, that was their lifestyle. Why am I bringing this up? Because I've noticed that if you want to find a solution to something, when people come up with how to be confident, you'll find out that there are people that live like that already. They don't have to, they already live. So they're using them as like a blueprint to sell how to be confident. I'm bringing this up because when I was overweight, I moved to the UK in 1998, and I then worked in McDonald's part-time for 6 months. I love food. I still love food. I loved it then. I love it more now. So I gained a lot of weight. Then people started to comment on it, and I got a bit irritated, and maybe for a day or two, I'll try to stop myself, and then I'll stop. Then I remember that I went to uni before I started to lose weight. I went to uni, and I look back at some pictures that someone shared with me a few, like last year, a couple of years ago. I was like UK size 16, 18, because I was big, and I was wearing crop tops. I'm saying this for a reason. I had no issues with showing I didn't have I've always had a flatter stomach. I've never had my tummy never came out, but that's not the point. I was wearing what people that were size 8s and 10s were wearing. Some size 12s did not want to wear 14s because they felt they were big. They made those things in my size. I wore them and I was confident. I looked at that person and thought, why am I not this person? I thought about that 2 years ago. I said, why am I not this confident? When I lost weight, I was always thinking about, I can't wear a crop top. My tummy is this. As I look back, I'm trying to figure out, how do we you say how you had your mindset shift. How does that happen quicker so that we don't waste time? I like how you're saying you're in late 30s. Why is it now that you're deciding that you want to enjoy your body now? Why is that the case for all of us? If I'm going to say all, because I know most people that are listening, it was only like a handful of people that will say, I've always been confident. And please, if you are that person, feel free to reach out to me. Let's talk. But how do we move from how you were? Let's take it away from me. I'm just sharing more about why I'm here. How you were then. You were curvy. People definitely must have made comments. Even if you were saying that you felt like, I'm sure some people also said stuff to you about your size. I'm sure it wasn't as much as you said to yourself. I'm sure you heard that. You're comparing yourself I compared myself to Caucasians. I'll say that now because they don't have the same body shape I have. My thighs are thick. We can never look the same.
We don't.
We can never, But I didn't think about that. I just thought, my friend, I'll just say Kay. She was like super lean. But then people, when I moved to Nigeria, people were like, Adura, you have a great body, you're curvy, like, yeah, whatever. And I tried to even lose more weight. So Ada, how do we, and I want to tell you to now think about it. What do you think caused you to feel like that about your weight, about your size? What caused you to compare yourself with others? Can you figure it out? And then what's kind of changed your mindset, or helped to change your mindset?
So I think, I don't have all the answers. I have no idea. And I think about this as well with my daughter, who is going to grow up and become a teenager. And no matter how many times I tell her she's beautiful, she's going to develop doubts and insecurities just based on who she sees around her, what she sees around her. And there's just nothing I can do to prevent that from happening. I just want to try as much as possible to delay and maybe shorten that period. But I don't know if I have the tools. My mother has always been a very confident person about her body. Big or small, my mother she's like, I don't understand this insecurity thing. But a couple of things I think about. Number one, growing up, definitely as Nigerians, maybe all Africans or maybe all West Africans, we were raised on comparisons. It was always, can you not see that person? Look at what that person is doing. Can you not see your mates? Why are you not at the same level when your mates are there? And I think today we all know that comparison is a thief of joy. So perhaps subconsciously as we're growing up, we're always just thinking, that person, I need to be like that person. And then I moved to the US when I was 11, 12, so like middle school, which is about the time maybe it's later, but around that time, you're very impressionable, right? Everything around you matters. I remember starting to try to wash my hair every day because Oyibo people around me were washing their hair every day. We don't wash our hair every day, like little things, but I was doing those weird things. I remember that I just moved to the United States, and at that time, all the girls were shaving their legs. And I had never heard of shaving my legs coming from Nigeria at that age. And the one day I got my hand on a pair of razors, I shaved my legs, shaved my arms. It was all I know but anyway, so I think that coming into this new place, I was just very, very impressionable. And what I saw people around me doing or looking like mattered a lot to me. I was comparing myself to them and I felt like I should look like that. And so I think at that age, I started feeling these levels of like body insecurity. And it's ridiculous because, like I said, I look at myself now, and when I was 11 or 12, I've always been very athletic. I've always been very active. I had no issues whatsoever. But like you were saying, you know, our bodies could never look like Oyibo people's or Caucasians' bodies, right? One of the things I noticed more recently is that our torso sizes are different. Like the way models are like highlighted here in the side of the world, I don't know about in Nigeria because I'm not there as often, but in this side of the world, they design clothes for, and they really highlight women, females with long torsos. And no matter what I did, I just do not have a long torso. I don't. And then my hips start to come out sooner than maybe in a Caucasian person's body. These little differences, they made a big difference because even as a fitness instructor, the kind of clothes we were wearing were not necessarily suited to highlight our athletic build in those clothes. So I would wear the same shorts that my Caucasian friends are wearing, but they're riding up in the middle of my thighs, or they're riding up in a very uncomfortable way. So I'm feeling very subconscious about that. And if you notice, I never wore shorts. When I got into Adura fitness, I never wore shorts. Or the kind of tank top I had to wear specific types of tank tops that would kind of hug my body in a specific way or perform in a specific way when I'm like doing high impact workouts. But I mean, these are examples. I don't have all the answers, but I would say comparison is a thief of joy. Yep. I think we were raised on comparison. And when they brought me into a new environment where people did not look like me, I was still trying to fit a specific mold that simply wasn't meant for me. Yep. And so that probably helped me develop some of this like body dysmorphic issues, as they call it today, I think.
Yeah, I actually really think it is body dysmorphia at some level, because even for people that I speak to, you look at them, like you are looking at them with your eyes, like you can see, and you see someone in great shape. You see someone that, they look healthy. I'm not saying healthy like in Nigeria. When you say you look healthy in Nigeria, they mean that, in fact, you start to even feel like you've gained weight. So anytime I hear, Adura, looking well, I'm like, I have to go lose. That's how I
work. One other thing I'll say about, like, it's very interesting because I consider myself a Nigerian, but having not lived in that environment for some time, like there's certain nuances. Like when I was in the fitness industry, they would say things like, that girl, she's very fit. But what they meant is she's skinny or she's not fat. Like fit was literally tied to the way you looked. When in reality, fit has nothing to do with the way you look.
Yeah.
There are people who were coming to my class and they were significantly smaller than me. They could not lift the amount of weight that I lifted. They could not jump as high as I could jump. They could not move as quickly, or they did not have the explosive muscle movement that I did. And so that's why it goes back to me. Even when I was doing when I was in the fitness industry, I kept saying, it's all about how you feel, all about how you can move, all about what your body can do. Focus on that, and the rest will follow. But I also do think it takes a mindset shift to actually focus on that instead. Now you're more concerned with powering your body with the right foods, the right nutrition at the right periods of time, so that your body can move faster, so that you have the energy stores to jump higher, to run faster, to get lower, all those kinds of things. And the rest it literally just follows. Then with the confidence thing, the other thing I will say is that confidence is extremely attractive. You can see someone who is like great skin, beautiful hair, great clothes, and they're just not smiling, or they're constantly looking down. And that absolutely changes their entire aura. So not even just the way they look, but their entire aura. And then you see someone, like you were saying, people who are bigger than you or smaller than you on different scales, and they just appear so confident. I found that confidence is very attractive. Even in my new journey.
I want to be you. I'm like, you're confident, tell me.
Exactly. Exactly. And that confidence, again, comes from not trying to compare yourself to, or not trying to be like anyone else. We're living in this era where, no offense to anyone, but one of the things I find so odd is how everybody wants to look the exact same. Like, even if it involves injections and things like you all want to look the exact same. Nobody wants to look, not nobody, that's an exaggeration, but there is something to be said.
Well, I mean, I don't think you, sorry to interrupt, I don't think you should even say, I know that it's true, we can't speak for everyone, but at one point or the other, even if it's not your own intention, you don't realize it. And I used to be that person like, look, with all these people in the, what's it called? What do you call them? Developed countries and all their issues. It doesn't apply to me because look, I'm from Nigeria, you know, we have our own problems. But honestly, as I've gotten older and thank God wiser, I've realized that all these things influence us. You cannot say it. Ada, I just traveled a few days ago. At the airport, there was like a poster of a few people. And yes, it wasn't even in America, it was somewhere else. Like the airport, there were like 5 models. I can't remember what the brand was. I think it was perfume, Chanel, perfume brand anyway. And there were 5 women. Do you know, I noticed that there was a black girl, white, and then they're trying to make it like, you know how they do things now. But then I noticed that, I wish I had taken a picture. They had the exact same waist. No, I'm not saying size. No, listen, I'm serious. I'm not saying size. Forget the size for a second. They had the exact same waist. So I was wondering that, first of all, I said, is it the same? Did they really have the same waist, or was it Photoshop so that they look the same? But it was just those 2 on that side. But it got me thinking about myself for a second. I was like, wait, look, I like the longness, like you said, the torso, the longness of how her torso. I like how her waist was long, and how like the way it went in was it took a bit more time before it came out. And I was thinking about myself. So look, even if you're saying that you're not generalizing, it's the reality of it. The world is forcing things on us, and it's like it's our own work to be able. We have to figure it out here, so that the world is not influencing what is here. But unfortunately, for most of us, it is. Look at what happened to me. And I say, I'm 40, I know myself now. And just a few days ago, I was still thinking, maybe I should. I can't do this again. I know how I looked when I was 30. I'm sure I can do it again. Why am I doing that to myself?
Oh, no, I would definitely say that confidence is something that you have to establish. Otherwise, the lack of confidence will stick with you forever. I don't know that there's an age limit where you're suddenly comfortable and confident in yourself. I think it's something that if you don't develop, you just won't. And you'll be 50. There are tons of people who are in their 50s, their 60s, that they haven't dealt with the insecurity issues. And it still manifests in not just the way they dress or appear, but the decisions they make and the way they interact with people. So I don't think age has anything to do with it at all. I'm glad that I'm coming to this new phase now, and I still consider myself young. I beg, 50 is a new like 20. Based on what I'm saying. Yeah. So no, it's definitely interesting, but I'm in this place where I'm realizing that I'm not realizing for the first time, but I'm just fully aware of the fact that our differences, our uniquenesses are needed in this world, not just from a physical standpoint, but even our abilities, our mentalities. The diversity is something to be celebrated, not just when it comes to like having a black and a white model, but literally the way we think, the way we act, the way we're able to interpret things. All of this makes the world a much better place. And so to our bodies, why should we all want to look a specific way? I will say that I'm seeing a concerted efforts in this part of the world to showcase more diverse bodies. But we definitely have a long way to go, because even my daughter, who is 5 now, when I wear a wig, she's like, oh, mommy, your hair is so nice. Why does long hair equate with nice to you? Little things like that.
Yeah. So I'm thinking about something that you said, and I was thinking about it as you're speaking now. You said we have to establish this confidence, and that it's almost like there'll always be things that will cause you, or that could, I don't want to say affect or attack, but that could have some kind of an impact on your confidence. And if you are not confident, then that's where issues arise, right? For you personally. Another story I have so many stories, and they're always so interesting. Other people anyway, not me. I heard about this, and I want to ask you, Ada, I know you said you cannot do so much for your daughter, that she will still go out and go to school and then things will happen. But I really, really think about these people that, is it inherent? Is it like they did not grow up, they were not raised with it, but it's just their personality type, that they're just born with it? Or is there more to it? Did the parents have, some kind of a say or an impact in how confident someone is going to be? You are a parent, so at least you can start to you're looking at your children now. They might still be young, but I'm sure you've observed other people. There's this girl, there was a lady, it was a woman of God just sharing a story about her daughter. Her daughter was still in kindergarten, and her husband had always said to the girl that she was beautiful. She was, always saying she's the most beautiful girl in the world, all of that. He loves her. So anyway, I'm giving this because there's a point to the story that I'm going to share. So the teacher from her daughter's school calls and says, hello, your daughter was in a bit of a situation at school today. So what happened? Said a boy walked up to her and said that she was ugly. And then this is a woman of God. She was like, she was so excited. She didn't say, but I'm Nigerian. She was so excited because she knew that her daughter must have punched the boy or something. She really about it. Only for the teacher to say, no, that's not what happened, actually. When the boy said that she was ugly and called her a couple of things, she was like, no, my daddy says I'm the most beautiful girl in the world. I'm not ugly. I am beautiful. And I just thought to myself, could I have done that at her age? No. At that point, I was already thinking that my eyes were too large, I was a bit chubby, all those things. So I just thought that was, and I'm hoping that girl grows up to be someone that no matter what the world says, no matter if someone says that she looks funny or whatever, she will know without a doubt that she is beautiful. So I'm wondering about that. You said that, I'm saying, is there anything that I really want us to know, and just to look back at your own life, because it's enough for us to say, man, if I had known better, I'd have done this. I'm trying to figure it out. And I want to hear from you. What do you think, if you could go back to your 15-year-old self, your 20-something-year-old self, what would you give her to help her appreciate what she has more, especially because you were that person I was talking about, is about what your body can do. It wasn't about having I never saw you doing transformation pictures. You're not about that. You were more about, you love fitness and you wanted everybody to love it with you. You loved your music and you wanted everybody to love. And that's what I loved about you, because you were doing exercise to music in the US. I think it's Les Mills, right?
Yeah, no.
Yeah. And then you came to Nigeria and you used Nigerian music. And so that was, you just wanted to move, you just wanted to have people enjoy. And I remember your first event was packed out, So what would you say even to that person then, who was you're there an advocate for what your body does, all of that, but you still had your insecurities and that affected you? Even though I'll tell you the truth now though, hearing you is very interesting, because just looking at someone doesn't tell the full story. I always saw you as just super confident. I never even thought you had any issues with your weight. Wow, honestly, I wish I was I had your confidence. That's what I was thinking then. And to realize that you're telling me this now, then
people tell me that all the time, because my whole personal story and my personal journey in the past even 3 years. I really struggled with insecurities, and I've come to this realization that I think I wouldn't say that my battle over insecurities was won because I improved in any way. It was just this awakening that I'm different and different is okay. That my flaws do not make me. Everyone has flaws, but my strengths are so much better. And it's the same thing with our bodies. Maybe we have one leg slightly shorter than the other. I know it's really interesting. My eyes are not the exact same. My eyebrows might not be the exact same length.
I've noticed that. Oh my goodness, I noticed that. No.
God literally created, I would say God, but literally created all of us with our little quirks, physically, emotionally, mentally, in all different ways. And that makes us unique and beautiful. And that's literally the realization. That was the aha moment I had that turned things around for me. And once you walk knowing that you are fine just as you are, you don't need to add or take anything away to be everything that you are, to be fully valuable and to be fully deserving of respect and honor and everything. You free your mind up to be able to discover and try and explore new things, honestly. So when the weight of what will they say, what will they think fell off of my shoulders, suddenly I had the space, the capacity to reinvent myself as this author, to go forth, to try new things. And that confidence that people kept saying, oh, they thought I had, oh, now I have it. I still have my doubts, don't get me wrong. And I still have my, I should be better at this, better at that. But that doesn't make you horrible. Work on those things. Just put those on your list of things that you need to work on every single day. Work towards it, but don't let it consume you. And so it's interesting because everyone tells me that, me? No, they thought I was so confident because of the way I moved and everything. Far from it. But, I love that story you said about the girl and the response and all that. Number one, I like that she didn't hit, because in my home, no hitting, no matter what it says. I don't want anyone to be able to fight back. Don't just. But also, I really appreciate you sharing that story with me, because I wonder like what the magic is to help raise confidence, men and women. Because I think, I know we're not necessarily talking about this, but I do think that men have insecurity issues as well, but society forces them to manifest their insecurities in different ways. Women, we may like hide, cower, cry, all those kinds of things. But I would say that men are not even allowed to talk about it or seem weak. Why are you talking like a woman now? You're a man, those kinds of things. And so they may manifest in like punching the wall, hitting a person. All different kinds of ways. I could be completely wrong. This is not my profession. But I like that, it's been filled in her at this young and very impressionable age that she is beautiful. She is the most beautiful person in the world, just as she is. To the point that when someone comes and challenges it, it's like, what are you talking about? There's no way. I love that.
Saying, someone telling her that you're not a girl, and she's like, dude, excuse me.
Exactly. I love that. I love that. It's very reassuring for me, because I tell my kids that all the time. I'm like, you are perfect just the way you are. You are perfect just the way you are. I don't necessarily use words like most beautiful person in the world. I don't like calling her a princess, because she's not any royalty in any way, shape, or form. And I don't want her to equate any of those things with like self-worth or self-value. I want you to know that just as you are, you're perfect. And that's it. You don't have maybe
it didn't say most beautiful girl in the world. I can't remember, but I just know that.
Not that there's anything wrong with that at all.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about it as well, that I just know that the girl was confident that she was beautiful. So you couldn't tell her.
And that's all it is. Yeah, and I'm like, and I was even telling them like this weekend they went with their dad. I'm like, don't let anyone tell you that you're a bad kid, because you're not a bad kid. You're a great kid. You're a great person. If you make a mistake, you made a mistake, but you're still a great person. Like those things are very important. And I think that will flow into, like, my daughter is very tall for her age. She looks like an 8-year-old. She's 5. Oh. So I don't want any of these things to creep up on her at any point in time. Like letting her know that she's great. You're perfect just the way you are. And now that you've given me that story, I'm going to do it a lot more to highlight what you can do, what your body can do. Highlight the fact that you're so tall, you can reach places even higher than most of the people around you. Like those kinds of things, so that if she's ever confronted with it. Because the other thing I will say is that children are very innocent. They just blurt things out of their mouth without having to think of like being politically correct. Yes, and there's nothing wrong with that. Is that innocence, that purity that actually I wish we as adults would do. We spend so much time doubting ourselves or doubting how the way we say things might be interpreted. And then we start to say things that we don't necessarily mean, or we're not genuine in the way we communicate. So I like to preserve children and their innocence in the way it is. It's just all about making sure that people are aware of who they truly are on the inside, so that words will not necessarily shake their foundation.
And that's the thing about this is obviously like I know you mentioned God has said, well, whoever it's like not as if I'm making it a Christian conversation or but because of someone like me that I am a Christian, and I spent a long time of my life bothered about my identity, about who I was and what I used to identify myself. So thinking about my identity, and how I realized that a lot of times it has to do with things that could change. So in my weight, I'll worry about it. How I do in a test, what job I got, someone dying. Those different things. And my mom, when I was younger, she was ill for a while before she died. Those different things. I realized that those things really, they're supposed to just be experiences or whatever. And it's just, I'm still supposed to be the same person. Like inside all of it, I'm supposed to be the same person. So like what you said about your daughter, she's tall. Hey, it's not going to change. She is going to be tall. You don't want her to go to school. I had a cousin like that because she just thought she was my height. She was 6 years younger than me. She was my height at the age of 10. and I was 16. So she was very awkward. If you see her now, she's beautiful, she loves herself, but then she hung, she almost like had her head down and was always like that, because and she dragged her feet. She just felt so awkward, and she talks about it now. So I'm just looking at ourselves and saying, how do we hold on to who we are, no matter what size we are, no matter what skin condition we have, no matter how long or short our hair is, no matter, what happens to our skin. I know, there are different things. It's always about outward appearance most of the time. So it's not only about size. And the funny thing, when you talk to someone that has also dealt with the other extreme, being really skinny, because who don't even realize that they have a lot of issues as well that people are imposing on them. But I really like, I want to ask you a couple more things, and I think we'll definitely talk again. But I really think that, in trying to become, influence people around us, our children are the most important. My nephew and my niece, my sister says that I'm going to make them into people that are like conceited. Why? Because she says, them all the time that they're beautiful. My niece says she knows she's beautiful. She might even say, well, that thing is beautiful just like me.
Oh,
wait, my nephew, as got older, he started to say, no, auntie, I'm not that smart. I'm like, no, you are that smart. You are great at maths. You are really handsome. And I'm not saying it because actually, I look at you and think, could you get any more? But I always talk about both things, outside and also, who they are. Like, my niece is such a kind girl, things like that. These things matter, Ada. And I really like that, you started saying that to your children. I know my mother loved me. She loved me so much. But unfortunately, when I know people don't know, but when you see me properly, when you see me like a picture, you realize I actually have large eyes. But I realized that for a long time, I found a way to kind of like not make them look as large as I figured it out. Why? Because as I was growing up, everyone teased me about my eyes, but they didn't realize what the impact it had on me.
Your eyes are beautiful. Your eyes are actually beautiful.
Thank you, but guess what? I didn't know that. My mom used to call me, my older sister calls me Oju, and it's a term of endearment, all from love. My older brother, in Nigeria, we have like, he gave me a Muslim name, Boljiratu, as in bulgy eyes, Boljiratu. And he sang the multivite song, Bulgy, Bulgy, Boljirat for me. I had people talk about my eyes all the time. And only one aunt was like, oh, Adura, you have beautiful eyes. But I didn't take her serious because everyone else told me I was just teasing about my eyes. I grew up being self-conscious about my eyes. I'll see some pictures and I'll think my eyes look like glaringly, and I'll quickly like think, okay, how do I fix it? Okay. And I started to look sleepy in pictures. This was from my childhood. I was a bit chubby as a child, and comments were made as well. I'm not saying that it was all their fault, but I know, no, I'm not commenting on my family, just in general, in school, all of that. Comments were made. When I went to boarding school, I lost some weight. Comments were made that, wow, you've lost weight. So it made me see that, okay, losing weight is good, but being bigger is not. But I don't know how I was confident as a smaller, bigger person, God knows. But I know that now I want us to just figure out, and as I'm talking to you, and I'm just going to end with some things that you said, please, if you can just touch on them, I really would like, to share, you to say. So, when I started to see you on social media again, I was always wondering why you're not sharing pictures of yourself. You're just sharing pictures of your children. And I was thinking that, why isn't she sharing herself? Like, okay, what is it? And in my mind, I thought, is it because maybe she gained some weight from having her children? You know how things like that happen. And sometimes people just feel, and I thought, so that's what I could do. I won't do that anymore, but I could do that as well because I have to appear fit and healthy all the time, right? Anyway, so I thought that I kind of projected that on you. But then if I only shared a couple of pictures, I said, okay, yeah, you did gain some weight. Okay, well, there you had children, so it's not a big deal. And then you started to share more. Until when you shared on WhatsApp first. I'm so thankful I had your number because I saw your share. I literally told my friend about it. I was almost in tears. And it wasn't tears of sadness. I was thinking that, my goodness, and you're on this side. And so as I'm saying, you're 1,000 books. For me, I'm so excited. I didn't invest any money. You didn't do Kickstarter that maybe I'll get something. You didn't do anything. Yeah. But yeah, so I want you to talk about that because I want you to go from the place of, and you don't have to go too deep into it, personal into it. You can just do it as you desire. Go to how you got to the place where something caused you to gain so much weight and you had to, carry on with life. What did that do for you? How did it affect your confidence? Was it only about your size that your confidence was knocked, or was there something else? And then how did you get to this person by saying you've had a mind shift and you're now like, it's about what my body can do. I actually know this now. It's not about how I look. I like how you told me that the weight fell off once you got to that place. So for people that are listening, that's so obsessed. Oh my God, I have to do this. How can you tell me about that? I think I have a lot to learn from it personally.
Well, to be honest with you, I'm still unraveling it myself. So I can't even say it in a way that is like coherent and someone can learn from, but I'll tell you just chronologically. So I've always had these insecurities about my weight, about my looks. And then, I got married as a fitness instructor, right? But I don't necessarily want to say too much because I like talking. I'm an open book. I can talk about myself all day long.
Yeah.
When it comes to talking about other people, I try to be a little bit cautious or sensitive and make sure that I'm not saying anything that they necessarily wouldn't want to say or reveal about themselves. But due to my insecurities, I thought that I deserved a lot less than I actually did. I thought I was significantly less valuable than I actually am. And so there are things I just kind of took and accepted and assumed I should be. One of the things that I got feedback on was that now as a mother, I shouldn't take time to go to the gym or things like that. That time is time I should be spending at home or with the kids, things, little comments like that. If I really wanted to work out, I can walk up and down the stairs or, move around the house more. So one thing led to another, with me not having the confidence to say, no, I'm a person and I deserve some time to myself to do things that I used to love, to reconnect with my passions. I assumed, okay, you know what, this is true, this is right. These are things I shouldn't be doing. And it's interesting because for me, in that space of like feeling worthless and feeling like I had little value, I was then doing things to just make me feel worse. Like I'm an emotional eater, I learned. So now I'm eating chocolates all day long and I'm not moving. Not only am I not going to the gym, I'm also not really moving around the house that much. The one thing I did do and I thank God for, and this is just me, not necessarily anyone else's, I think my little like tether to, my future or where I am today were my kids. For them, I would do, and I do any and everything. And it got to the point where Ada Ari had no identity. It was all about the kids. So when you saw me posting about the kids, it was literally all about them. I didn't care what I looked like. I didn't care. I think the one picture I put on Instagram, it was a picture of me actually having a big old like outdoor water play with the kids and the neighbors and all those things. But I was looking like, you saw what I was looking like. So I forgot about myself altogether and I was only focused on the kids. And while I don't say that I regret spending any amount of time with my children or pouring into my kids, it's important to be whole yourself because you cannot pour from an empty cup. So I found it's interesting that now that I'm taking time for myself and telling my kids, no, mommy needs her me time, they are actually able to find things to do on them to keep themselves busy and to keep themselves entertained. And these are skills they're going to need in real life because I'm not going to be there to constantly entertain them. Life gets mundane, life gets boring. How do you keep going and how do you keep motivated? So anyway, that was one thing. So I was kind of in a situation where I wasn't necessarily encouraged to be the Adari fitness passion-filled person for fitness that I used to be. I did not quite understand that that was who I was and that I needed to advocate for that. And I needed that to be who I am fully, not for anything else, just because I enjoyed it and it was part of me. So I was just losing myself and I didn't know why. I couldn't quite explain it. I just thought maybe I'm just lazy. My mindset was just all over the place. And then what I say was just divine intervention from God. I think God literally just let the entire ground fall from underneath me. So I shared it on social media. It's no big secret, but I came home one day and I saw a letter on my bedside, and the letter was informing me that I'm now a single mom. Like all his things were gone, and that was it. I had a 6-month-old and a 2-year-old, and all the things I feared in this life happened. I'm a single mom. Do I even have the finances to kind of like do what needs to be done? Like, what am I going to do? Who am I? What am I doing? All I've ever thought and all I've been fighting for and trying to maintain was this marriage and children. And now the marriage is gone. I was in a very confused place. And so every little thing that I've been doing to kind of self-sabotage, unknowingly, like eating badly, not really like working out, those kinds of things, just went into full space, on full scale. So now it got to the point where I had no motivation to like get up out of bed. It was difficult. Except for playing with the kids, I literally wasn't doing anything. And then the pandemic happened. So not only was I not doing anything, it was expected that I wasn't going to go anywhere, that I wasn't going to be anywhere. And it was literally just me and the children walking around. I was working, so I needed to have childcare. And I had like a living nanny at the time. And I think that just exacerbated the issue, because now I had someone to actually bathe them and do all the different things. And I remember very vividly, I would just sit in my bed eating junk all the time. And so that weight piled on. And I know, because I'm a fitness professional, I know what to actually do. I just could not will myself to do what I needed to do, to get up and move. And now suddenly my body could do significantly less. My back was hurting. I couldn't stand and wash dishes. I had to tip over and kind of use support of the sink. It's so interesting. I told my friend this the one time and she was shocked, but like, even when I turned, like I would feel the folds in my neck. It was so odd. I mean, I stopped weighing myself when I saw 306 pounds on the scale. And that's not because I stopped adding weights. I was still doing all the things. So I know I was still adding weight. I just stopped checking. And again, I would say it was just God. All of a sudden one day, I mean, the divorce was very painful, was very, very emotional. But one day, out of nowhere, my sister made a comment and I snapped. I just snapped out of it. I was eating a piece of chocolate. I took it out of my mouth. I threw it in the trash and never looked back. It's so weird. I personally think it was just divine intervention, because for the past 3 years, I'd been saying to myself, I need to lose weight. And I wasn't doing any of those things. One small thing would happen, trigger me. I'm going to look for some kind of junk to make myself feel better. As I was eating poorly, I had zero energy. I'd be falling asleep because I was in this, like, those sugar highs that bring you crashing down. And then all of a sudden, that was it. I was done. I said to myself, when you're stressed, don't look for something to eat, move. So when I was stressed, I got up and I would sweep the floor or something along those lines. And we know, because we're in the industry, like we know as fitness professionals, or me former, that the best stress reliever is exercise. We know that food impacts your mood. But what I've realized now is that your mental state has to be in a place where you can actually connect what you know to what you're doing. It's not as simple as, stop doing that now, or start doing that. You have to be able to check in. And I mean, I could talk on forever and ever about this particular thing because I'm so passionate about sharing my learnings. But I think that the mental plays a massive role in what you're seeing physically, what you're even able to do, how you rationalize things.
Wow, honestly, thank you. Honestly, I think I don't want to ask you, because I'm going to ask you other things I talked about, but you know what? That is more than enough for me. I'm really, and I knew I had more to learn. And I hope you're listening, you listen to the last bit. Like, I feel like I'm going to just cut that clip out and just share it before sharing everything else. Important. No, honestly, we need to, we don't realize how life experiences can affect us. We also do, I love that part of things can be so obvious to you. You know you should do something, but you can't do it. You can't just tell someone, but you know, I should lose weight and I can't eat well. What are you talking about? You don't even know what is going on up here. As much as the person has that information, like you had even the expertise, but it wasn't happening. And until, like you said, you got to that breaking point. And we always get to that breaking point. I saw a picture of myself, that was years ago. I just saw a picture of myself. I was like, who is this person? I was like, oh, that's how I just changed. You didn't have to do anything like anybody telling me I was fat. Someone said I burgered up, I've eaten so many burgers, whatever. All those videos, like, we talk. But it wasn't that. You just had your own moment and you moved forward from there. I'm going to share something that you didn't say that I wrote down. You wrote that you said that happiness is not a destination. You said this to me, and I remember I noted it down. Happiness is not a destination. You need to be satisfied with how you are today. And I wrote that down. I had to, because I just thought, my goodness, do we know that? You will never get to it. You will never be the right size. You never have you never have the right skin. You never have the right relationship, the best. It's always want to have something better. So why can't you just find your happiness where you are now and then move? And I love what you said as well as we close. And then you're going to help us close with your closing bit. You said confidence is so attractive. confidence is attractive. And not just about being attractive to the opposite sex because you want to find a boyfriend, girlfriend, or spouse. It's also attractive to me. I'm attracted, and as I said, I was attracted to what I thought was your confidence, but you shared more. But there was confidence there as well. Maybe you had insecurities, but you were also confident. I'm going to give that to you. You can't take that yourself. You were confident, but you did have some insecurities. Confidence is attractive. People learn from your confidence. People, they do well. I find that environment works for me when I'm around confident people. My closest friend right now, I love her confidence, and I'm learning from her. So thank you so much, Ada. I can't even begin to thank you for volunteering and also being my first. I know that this is very important that you're the first person I spoke to, and I know I'm going to call you back very soon and we'll have a longer conversation. Thank you for giving your time. And I really, really, I will not go to Christian. I'm a super Christian. I love God so much. But my prayer for you is that, what you started now, you have no idea where you're going. And that million, and we're going to talk about, you share it again, that we had this conversation. The million that you're going to say, you will share it. It is going to happen. Amen. You are going to see so much in your children, in your own life, in what you
Amen.
do. And your story is going to help people. They're going to help people. They're going to help women. They will learn from you. And you will own where you are. And you will not say, I'm getting there. Where you are is great. You are not getting there. You'll get wherever, but where you are is amazing. I'm going to give you that. You said it is not a destination. So where you are right now is perfect. And it speaks to me when I see you online all the time. So thank you so much for your time, and you can just close, and I'm going to share her details for her Instagram page, and also is at koli.olum, right? That's your Instagram.
So it's a little bit confusing, I know, but Ada_Ari is my personal page, and I have two different book products. One of them is Koli Olum, then the other one I just do on my page, but my page will tell you everything you need to know. Follow both, that'll be perfect. Exactly. But yeah, I think in closing, thank you for reminding me so two things you said I actually do want to touch on. Happiness is not a destination. You're right. It's where you are right now. And it ties in a lot of the things we were talking about. Confidence is not about reaching a specific destination. Confidence is just being satisfied with where you are today. That ties into happiness. And I even said that as we get older, a lot of the physical attributes we have today are going to be diminishing. So if you don't build the ability to be confident in yourself as you are at any point in time, it's not coming. It's not going to be around the corner when you reach a specific destination. So work to find it today. Work to find ways to surround yourself with the right people, the right motivational quotes, if it has to be, just the right things that are feeding you on a daily basis, so that you can develop joy, happiness, and contentment with where you are today. The other thing I do want to touch on is that I'm an open book by nature, much to my mother's chagrin, but I believe it's because my story did not happen for me to pocket the learnings and say, okay, now I'm wiser. I firmly believe that God made these things happen, put things in my path because he wanted me to help someone else out there. That's what I believe. I could be wrong. I could be any other way, but I don't believe
that. You're not wrong. That's it.
Yeah, I don't believe these are my stories to keep to myself. They're just not. And I also know, we're having these conversations, and there's so many other people who are going through, who went through, who will go through the same experiences. And if I can prevent one person from following the same path that I did to lead to the mistakes that I had to learn from, that to me is a win. So if I can prevent one person from making the same mistakes I did, I'm happy, I'm glad. But yeah, I'm so confident in what it is that I have to offer that I'm not afraid of my past or my story. That doesn't, talking about it doesn't scare me in any way, shape, or form. So yeah, thank you for giving me the platform to talk.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ada. I'm so grateful for you, and have a wonderful. I'm going to still talk to you, but have a wonderful, wonderful life. I know that you're going to impact so many lives with your books, yes, but also your story. Thank you so much, and let's just say a quick bye to everyone. Bye. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Adura.
Bye. Thanks so much.
Bye.